ESPN does it again. This was embarrassing to watch. Full stop. Once again, ESPN makes the argument for us, the best argument for us, to finally move from a 4-team invitational to a 12-team playoff, an actual playoff. This elitist attitude, where only schools with the big brands can make the playoffs, deserve to make the playoffs. That's not going to work anymore. Welcome to episode 93 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. Let's get right to it. I want you to listen to this segment from Paul Feinbaum, Stephen A. Smith. Give this a listen. I'm going to make my comments. I want you to put down your comments down in the comment section below the video. Please smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends and subscribe to our ever-growing channel. Thank you so much. Give this a listen.
Insinuating that a TCU goes undefeated, they don't deserve to be in the NCAA Final Four?
I'm saying, it's hard because I love the kids, and I don't want to be unfair to the kids, okay? But I got to tell you, that damn schedule I find very non-impressive. I do. Oklahoma State, these teams, they haven't looked the same to me, Paul. Has the Big 12 been the Big 12 that you come to know and love?
No. Well, first of all, dog, you're so far off. It's embarrassing, okay?
What?
Because the Big 12 really doesn't have, this is not the old Big 12, dog. This is the TCU Big 12. And TCU, analytics looked this up the other day. If you put TCU against the top 10, top 12 in the country on a neutral site, they're not underdog against every team. Now, that doesn't mean very much on the field, but that's where we have the playoffs. It's on neutral sites, and I think TCU would get blown off the field against Georgia, against Tennessee, against Alabama, LSU, Michigan, Ohio State. They don't belong in there.
That's embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing. Your 4-team invitational now is based upon the lines that Las Vegas will go out and put on their sports book. That determines who should be in the playoffs. The 4-team invitational, if we're being real about this. Only metrics decide who goes to the 4-team invitational. Dean Straka, the person who put, I don't know the gentleman, but he put a great tweet out here. Let's put it up again. If this segment would never see the light of day if it was Texas or Oklahoma who had the exact same resume as TCU. Absolutely 100% true. If this was Oklahoma, who was undefeated in the Big 12, with the exact same metrics, this segment would not be played. And Stephen A. Smith saying, I don't like to say this because I like the kids, but TCU shouldn't be in the playoffs. And Paul Feynman says, this is not the old Big 12. This is the TCU Big 12. You know what? Maybe the Big 12 will become TCU's Big 12. But this is still the old Big 12. Oklahoma's in it. Texas is in it. It's just that TCU has beaten everyone that's been laid in front of them. You can make the argument, Paul Feinbaum and others, that Tennessee would beat TCU, but woulda, shoulda, coulda. You got to go by who deserves it, and that's why the 4-team invitational no longer can be what we do here in the sport that we love so much, college football. For those out there who are the purists, and I saw on Twitter yesterday some people that I really like listening to, I respect. They were having a conversation on Twitter talking about how great the 4-team playoff is because every game in the regular season really matters, and the 12-team playoff won't. The regular season will devalue itself. I say hogwash, because with this type of thinking, where TCU shouldn't be in the 4-team invitational if they go undefeated and win the Big 12, then did any of their regular season games really matter? And what about the other schools that aren't the big brands? Would any of their games matter in this 4-team invitational if we continue on with this? No, this has to change. For the purist out there, this is your kryptonite. This video, for those who support the 12-team playoffs and actual playoffs where teams get into the playoffs because they deserve it. They earn it on the field and not by metrics alone. This is the video that you want to show all the purists. This was embarrassing. And again, I can say that here at Peek Around the Corner because we are not attached to Fox Sports, ESPN, Big Ten, whoever, SEC. We're not attached. We're calling it like it is. This is an embarrassing segment from ESPN. It just gives more reason why people outside the SEC absolutely distrust ESPN. It's one of the reasons why, just another log in the fire, why the Big Ten separated themselves from ESPN. This was terrible. Now, you might be asking yourself, Greg, why are you getting so upset? Why are you getting so upset? You know, the 12-team playoffs, that's going to happen 2 years down the road. TCU, schools like that, Oklahoma State, they'll be able to earn themselves into the playoffs by what they do on the field. Well, probably, but again, let's get back to this story. Nicole Auerbach, today. Sources to The Athletic. The presidents and chancellors that make up the College Football Board of Managers are meeting today, November 16th, here Wednesday. Expected topics of conversation include the Rose Bowl plus revenue distribution. Sources say 1 to 2 Power 5 leagues pushing to change the revenue distribution formula for 24 and 25. We at Peek Around the Corner have been talking about this for weeks. It's the elephant in the room. This is the most important issue. Sources say 1 to 2 Power 5 leagues pushing to change revenue distribution formula for 24-25. I'll put my money on it. It's SEC and the Big Ten. Because in the current, we've gone through this on live show and other episodes. We'll just touch on it here at the end of this episode 93. But the current distribution model that gives out about $400 some million a year in total to all 5 Power 5 conferences and the 5 G5 conferences and Notre Dame, it gives a flat rate to those 5 Power 5 conferences of about $75 million a year, and then a few million, $6 million per school that gets into the college football playoffs. Very little on performance, big on a flat fee. With Big Ten and SEC going to 16 schools, and the Pac-12 remaining at 10 schools right now, and the Big 12 going to be at 12 schools. I believe the Big Ten, the SEC, we've been reporting on this at Peek Around the Corner. They want to change the formula. They don't want that big, huge, flat fee that just goes out to each Power 5 conferences, which no ties to how many schools you have in each of those conferences. They want to change the distribution model. Nicole Auerbach just said it today. We've been saying it for weeks at Peek Around the Corner. This is a huge elephant in the room. How are they going to settle this? Remember, it has to become a consensus vote. All 10 FBF conferences, 5 Power 5s and 5 G5s in Notre Dame, they all have to agree whatever this distribution model says it needs to happen for 24 and 25. Year 2026 and beyond, it doesn't need to be a total consensus vote of all 10 FBS conferences Notre Dame. So what I'm telling you is, if this can't get done, if this distribution model can't be decided on here very quickly for 2024, this thing is going to get kicked down to 2026. All these university athletic departments are going to miss out on a whole bunch of new revenue that a new college football playoffs would generate. And then when you get down to 2026, you don't need a consensus vote. In fact, we won't even know who's going to be in the room to vote. We could have some sort of separation of the Power 5, G5. Who knows? Maybe in a separation within the Power 5 for the college football playoffs. We don't know. So we need to get this deal done. There needs to become a consensus vote. I'm hoping, I'm praying it gets done here very shortly, maybe later today. Can the miracle happen? But this is the big elephant in the room that most people are ignoring. It can affect conference realignment. It can affect a whole bunch of issues that are laying out there right now on the table. Distribution model, revenue distribution model for the conference football expanded playoffs. is the number one issue in college football right now. Hopefully they get this decided. Hopefully it happens. Because I know most of you cannot have this 4-team invitational where only the big brands, they get such a leg up on everybody else. That type of statement made by ESPN, Stephen A. Smith and Paul Feinbaum, it's embarrassing. Full stop. Until next time. From all of us at Peek Around the Corner to all of you, please, you all take care of each other. Thank you so very much.